What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Guys, I know I'm late for the stream tonight. I said 9 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. It's 9:35 right now. I know I'm a little late. I had a bunch of stuff I had to do beforehand that kind of unexpectedly got in the way. But I'm here now. We're going to talk about Beryl. I know it's a very serious situation, so we're going to go ahead and get through the introductions very quickly so we can get right into the main meat of what's going on. Let's go ahead and get started. We have Alan in right now. Alan, say hello if you are willing to unmute yourself.
Hello.
All right, we have one of our moderators at Storms United, Daniel, in the stream as well. Say hello, Daniel.
Hello, guys.
Yeah, we have Ian as well. Ian, if you'd like to say hello, please go ahead and say hello to our audience.
Hello. This is my first time on a stream with him.
Yep, we're going to have a good time. And we have our head admin, as always, John, over here with him giving some updates, as well as him managing the Discord server for new members. John, say hello.
What's up, y'all?
Yep, and we have probably the two, not that these guys aren't important at all or anything like that, but the two best guys for the job, at least in the stream right now. We have Storm Team, we have Storm Team and Yetron, aka Tristan. Guys, go ahead and say hello at your will.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and also Alex Baller is here in the call as well. He is going to be working on behind the scenes stuff for us as well, just to take a look at stuff. So we're gonna have to keep a close eye on everything that's going on.
Pat, just letting you know real quick. As someone who has been through streams before, I did advertise your stream on my Twitter to give some more support.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. We really appreciate that. All right, so here's what we have going on. We're going to briefly go over this because we have a lot of information to get through tonight. So here's the situation that we have. This is Major Hurricane Beryl. Already, we're starting to see some convection firing up over Barbados right now. It's moving much farther south from Barbados than what we were anticipating just a couple of nights ago when we streamed last time. It's right now. I'm not sure if you guys can agree with me with this, but it looks like it's making a crash, just making a beeline towards Grenada right now. Can you guys confirm or deny that?
I agree. I think this I think it is coming right towards Grenada. This is a worst case scenario in my opinion.
What's also bad is that this thing is doing an eye wall replacement, and on a normal storm, it would be a good thing for an eye wall replacement, but since this is bearing down on land masses,
no pun intended.
All this will, yes, it will increase the size of impacts, potentially dramatically, depending if it can finish it up soon, which, knowing how intense the storm is, it probably will finish up pretty quickly in the coming hours. The eye is currently a little ragged, unsymmetrical, but it should be able to fix itself.
All right. Tristan, you've been watching this with Kaiser, who's another one of our mods. What's your take on all this?
All I gotta say is that first off, I do have a link for everybody. I'm gonna post it on Tropical real quick.
All right.
It is the Barbados. It is a radar from Barbados. We actually get to see some of the core of the system on the Tropical chat, so this will be very useful when detailing some of those. First of all, I have been noticing that on the Doppler radar there, it's not the clearest, but I am actually seeing a little bit of double eye wall structure within the southern core. And I know a lot of people, we've been confused about the center because on one hand, it looked like it's collapsing, but then on some, it showed that it was totally fine. But then in some imagery, it was showing an eye wall replacement cycle. I think it is an eye wall replacement cycle. The question is, because the conditions are so good in the Atlantic right now, is it a boost eye wall replacement cycle? Which basically, that term means that it's just an eye wall replacement cycle. It's a short one. It's able to make the eye wall stronger without weakening it. Or is it a full eye wall replacement cycle, where it takes 2 or more days for its center to try to organize itself again and label its double eye wall. And even though Recon said part of the eye wall is open, they also showed that there was a subtle double wind maximum starting to develop. So I do think it's an eye wall replacement cycle. But because in the conditions of the Atlantic, this storm may not have to go either through a full one, or if it goes through a full one, it might be a little bit faster than normal eye wall replacement cycle.
Okay.
But either way, it doing an eye wall replacement cycle on this area is very bad news. Not only because the winds will get higher, but that increases storm surge. Because the larger the storm is, the more storm surge is able to get off this thing and hit the coastline. Also, because St. Vincent is in the direct path, I hope people took precautions away from the potential of Lahars.
Yeah.
Because that crater is open.
Yeah, we talked about that on a couple nights ago on Friday night stream. This thing I am looking at, this does not look like it's going to be heading to St. Vincent anymore. It's jogged a lot further to the south. It looks like Grenada is in the line of fire. We were talking about that.
I was.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Even the northern side with a lot of rainfall could still trigger Lahars.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier. I was looking at the storm. I was like thinking, oh yeah, this is probably going to hit Grenada head on. And I think Grenada hasn't seen a really strong hurricane since I think Ivan. But I feel like this could be stronger.
Well, it already is stronger than Ivan at this current point.
I know. I was just saying if it doesn't weaken from an eye wall replacement cycle. That's all I'm saying.
All right, go ahead.
And real quick, for the people, Ivan was a Category 3 hurricane near Grenada. So basically, it's only a little bit stronger. They're the same, basically, in a way.
Either way, extremely damaging.
Extremely damaging, yes. Also, for our viewers here, we know the record's been broken. It's the earliest Cat 4 ever being Dennis of 2005.
And the only Cat 4 in June.
In June.
This is unbelievable.
Amazing.
It's unbelievable.
There was only one other storm that came close. I think it was, what was it, like Aubrey of 1957?
1957.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a 50 storm. So.
Yep. All right. So with that in mind, that's why we're paying such close attention to this.
And real quick,
let's go ahead. Go ahead.
Also, let's not focus on Beryl 100%. I know it's our big situation, but I don't want to forget our friends in Mexico. New tropical depression 3 with a chance of being named before landfall. Flash flooding in the mountains will be the biggest concern with landslides and mudslides with flash flooding.
Yeah, the National Hurricane Center said as much as 15 inches of rain could fall in Mexico from the storm.
Yeah, and that's bad because they already just had a tropical storm.
They had 2 rounds.
They had 2 rounds of it.
Yeah.
And another index.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is not good.
Yeah.
This is landslide potential. Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, we also need to watch Invest 96L as well because this is right after Beryl, heading towards the Lesser Antilles, and that raises the flash flooding threat for me quite a lot because you're getting a lot of rain in the first round, saturates the ground, and then you get a lot of rain in the second round, flash flooding happens. That's something we need to watch.
And some of the same areas could be impacted by that storm, too.
Yeah, and I highly doubt this will be as strong as Beryl, though. I've looked at the models. Cat 1 at most. So
I agree.
Cat 1,
maybe Cat 1.
Models do change, though. So.
I'm going to say respectfully, though, I kind of don't trust the intensity models anymore for this.
Oh, yeah.
Beryl just instantly went screw off and went Cat 4. So.
The last run of the HWRF showed it strengthening to 140-mile-an-hour hurricane, but the new 18Z came in and it wiped that out, only showing it being like a Cat 1, Cat 2.
Yeah, that's why we're not going to use... That's why there's... these intensity models have been so volatile for quite a while, especially with 96L and now Beryl, because Beryl exceeded all expectations. Yeah,
it tends to happen with small systems too, because
even my expectations, it strengthened a lot faster than I thought it was going to. It was a 65-mile-an-hour increase in 24 hours.
Exactly.
Well, in trade for a system strengthening a lot faster, it has more of a chance of an eye wall replacement cycle.
Exactly.
So it kind of did exactly what it was supposed to do. Go a Cat 3, low end 4, eyewall replacement cycle, and then whatever happens after that depends on what it wants to do versus its condition.
Yep.
It decides its fate tonight, basically.
Yeah. And what I have pulled up for the audience is essentially the overall evolution of Beryl in the last 24 hours. So here's what we had before. We had a tropical storm that was rapidly organizing, became a hurricane last night, Category 1, then became a high-end Cat 1 around 1 a.m. last night. You start seeing signs of an eye starting to appear out, and then it was early in the morning when that eye finally cleared out, and you saw the full scope of that rapid intensification, how it went from just a tropical storm to a Category 4 hurricane in 24 hours. Now what we're looking at now, we're seeing a lot more of a ragged eye. The eye was very symmetrical a few hours ago, but it's since gotten a lot more ragged due to a possible eyewall replacement cycle that we have yet to determine the results. But this is why I was so concerned about it 2 nights ago. My concern was this could possibly intensify at a very fast rate, and this scenario would happen, because we just talked about this. The eyewall replacement cycle, essentially it expands the wind field, expands the surge area, and let's say, like, this is also a very small system right now. Those winds, if this ends up going very well for it, could possibly double with this. Hurricane force winds only extend out 30 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds only extend outward 115 miles. That's not a large system. Like, that's a little larger than Andrew, and that's just to put some comparison for it right there.
By the way, Pat, if you want to pull up my screen share, I have a Radar Omega showing both the invest behind Beryl and Beryl itself to give some reference on how close these storms are following the same trajectory.
I'll go ahead and show the audience that for about a minute, but then I'm going to get back to my stuff over on my computer. Where is it?
So I guess
that is
we got it.
So I do got some interesting data real quick on the actual storm relative felicity. Unfortunately, I had to rely on global models a little bit, but I did the math a little bit. So the GFS said about at the 0 to 500 meter, I estimated around 50 to 75, 1 kilometer being around 125 to 150. Because this system is a little bit stronger, I assume there's about 100 SRH in the leewards, 200 at 1 kilometer, and maybe 250 to 300 at the 3 kilometer. So yes, the northern rain bands do have a potential for you sailors out there, even though I don't think you should be sailing in the northern bands either. This does have a chance of 1 to 2 tornadoes and some water spouts for our sailors. So the SRH
all right. All right. Could you please explain to the audience why SRH is so important to look at in a hurricane like this?
Relative velocity is the spin in the atmosphere, and it helps, and especially with this hurricanes having a lot of moisture, and potentially, because it is in the Caribbean, if you get some peaks of sunshine, you're definitely going to get some CAPE, which is capable available potential energy. And with the spin of a tropical cyclone, if it interacts with land, especially the leewards, because they are volcanic islands, so they have some decent peaks there, so you could have some updrafts and spin in the atmosphere on the northern and northeastern side, and that could create the potential for a few tornadoes.
Yep. All right, so that's why we're looking at that, because there is still a very large tornado threat with this as well. We have that. I don't think a lot of people that have been streaming today have even considered. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to my screen now. Thank you, Daniel, for sharing that. I'm just going to do that. I want to go ahead and show you I'm going to pause this real quickly. I'm going to show you the minute-by-minute satellite imagery right here, just so so our audience can take a look at it, because this is what we are seeing over the last hour at this current point, and we're just showing you this just for context to show you what we're talking about and why we're so serious about this storm going on. But you guys go ahead and talk. I'm sorry about the flashiness with this. It's going to take a second for it to completely clean out. So seizure warning for those of you who are susceptible to flashing lights for the time being.
But the good news about the tornado threat, Pat, is even though you have all those conditions, because the leewards are so small and don't give a lot of friction, that is the one weakness to these tornado threat. So if we were to put it in an SPC category, if these was a bigger landmass, there would be a lot more potential for tornadoes. But because of how small these islands are, and it's only local mesoscale that might be helped here, even with the conditions. In terms of an SPC estimate, I like to call it, it would be a slight risk only. because of the things
I
going
agree.
against the tornado threat versus going forward.
Okay.
So only be a slight risk.
Hold on,
Yeah,
hold on a second. Hey, I want you guys to look at my screen very quickly. I'm gonna screen share this on Discord. I want your take on the eye real quickly because this is the minute by minute, and I'm noticing there's a lot more clearing with this, and the eye looks a lot more symmetrical.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
I have noticed that.
Yeah,
And there's more
Also,
cold
hi.
towers popping up on the southeast side again too.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the storm, I've noticed that this one likes to have the coldest cloud tops on the southern eye wall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I find that intriguing. That the south eye wall is probably the strongest.
Yeah, microwave.
strongest
It's
in
northeast,
recon?
but right.
When recon passed through, they found 140 mile an hour winds on the northeast side. That's the strongest they found when they went in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the Doppler radar from Barbados, that also supports the new convection burst recently there. 2 times where it went orange actually. So yes,
Wow.
on Doppler radar it supports it too.
Oh, okay.
Wow. That's insane.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
seeing
it's-
it now. Yeah.
expect.
Ooh, there's
Yeah.
also
I would expect 140 miles an hour by the next update.
Oh,
there's
you
a
think so?
tropical supercell.
At
north
least
of Barbados.
maybe. I don't know. Maybe it'll stay 130. I don't know.
All right.
With
Yeah,
the
I'm looking at
recon
this.
data, I would think they would go.
Hey,
There is a tropical supercell that actually has a small hook on the Barbados radar. I can see that clear as day. Wow.
Huh.
where's that?
Okay.
Where's it at exactly?
It's on the Barbados radar. It would be around. If you look at it, it will show you the thunderstorm icons.
Okay.
It's on the northern area where it kind of looks like a small line.
Yeah, I see it.
And then now zoom into that. You might be able to see a small hook echo in one of these. You
Yeah,
can zoom in.
I'm
use
zooming in
scroll.
on it. Yeah, I'm noticing a little bit of
And then-
subtlety about
No, that's
75
not the
kilometers
part.
away.
That's not it
Hello,
right
I'm
there.
here.
It's the one just
What
north
is
of that. It's the one that looks more like a line.
That's
And then watch
insane.
that loop.
All right.
Hello.
Well,
It's right that area. Yes.
Oh, I see it.
Just
Yeah,
that
I know
bit.
what you're talking about now. We're just looking
There's
for
a
those
small
tuning in.
little
We're
hook
just
echo
looking
there.
at
Look
the
at that.
tornado threat this current point.
So, is everyone aware right now that this thing is undergoing an eye wall
Yes,
replacement?
we were just talking about it.
Yeah, we were
Yes.
talking about that.
Awesome.
I think it is. I think it's undergoing a very, 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 very strong eye wall.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
okay.
just-
Yeah.
Despite-
Hold. Okay.
Despite
Okay.
being
Okay, guys.
in
Hold
an
on.
EW
Hold on a second. I know we have a lot of people talking. I know we have a lot to go over. I want to ask something very quickly. First of all, Storm Team, what's the latest eye temperature?
eye temperature. Let me take a look. They did pass through.
According
I
guys
want to see if they got a new drop zone in the eye yet.
Yeah, the reason we're looking at eye temperature is just that's how warm the eye is, and it's mainly, and part of it's for ventilation purposes, and part of it's just to kind of tell how well the core is, or how well the eye is doing.
The current eye temperature is 27.6 degrees Celsius with
So-
a humidity of 93%, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
winds coming out of the south at 32 knots.
Okay,
For
so this thing,
context,
so the
it's
eye temp's not gone
reportedly
down at all.
increased by 20.
One at
I
a
mean-
time,
Oh,
people.
my.
Yep.
So one of the moderators here is saying that the eye is expanding and warming 15.5 degrees Celsius. Again, this is on Discord. I'm looking at the tropical weather discussion.
I've seen someone say that it increased 20 degrees Celsius in the last hour.
Oh, dang.
What? Okay, what's going? Where? Okay, who's is VC is blowing into the mic?
Not
Could be a
mine.
fan.
Sounds like a Storm Team problem.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
You know
Anyway.
what?
All right. Okay.
Never
all
mind,
right.
it isn't
All
a
that
Storm Team
aside.
problem.
Okay. Okay. Tristan.
Anyone
Tristan.
personal here.
Looking at this latest imagery, what are your thoughts on this? Do you when it regards to the eyeball replacement cycle?
It seems to be one of those boost ones I've been talking about because I've been hearing that it's more of a merger eye wall replacement cycle, which is the boost wall where it makes the eye wall stronger. But on the other end, the recon said the eye wall was open and there was a small double wind maximum. So I don't know what is going on. If
mean,
it's a merger,
yeah.
that's really bad because it expands the storm and it doesn't weaken it at all.
Yeah, an example of that was Katrina in 2005 when it was a 115 Cat 3, and it didn't weaken. It greatly expanded in size, doubled its wind field in the matter of 24 hours, and then it explosively intensified to a Cat 5 before making landfall in Louisiana. In the meantime, I'm going to look at the chat right now. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat. We have 350 people in right now. We've only been streaming for 20 minutes, and we have 350 people in chat right now. So be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and if you have any questions, feel free to type them up to the chat. I will be taking questions right now. So let's see.
Someone says there's a live here from Barbados.
Hey, whoever's blowing in the mic, yeah, just okay.
I don't think it's intentional, but
I know.
Yeah,
could be
it's
spam.
formed, you know, yeah.
By the way, it looks like that we're about to get another convective formation soon. It is just south of the eye wall.
Oh, really?
Yes, that is what I've been also seeing on the Barbados Doppler radar. Yes.
They went through the southeast eye wall and did a drop zone there. They got 90-mile-an-hour winds in the southeast eye wall.
Oh, awesome.
90.
I have a screen. Look, there we go. I have a screenshot of it in VC Nomic.
Okay, I'll take a look at that in a second.
And someone's saying there's a live cam in Barbados streaming.
We're not going to
There
touch.
is?
Yeah, we're not going to touch that for potential copyright issues.
That's fair.
Yeah, we can't do that. I'm pretty sure Barbados live cam wouldn't give us issues, but it's like just in case, and it's kind of rude to put YouTube on another YouTuber's thing,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're not going to touch it. Okay. Do we have any questions right now? Let's see. What are my
Someone
thoughts on-
says Belize is getting flooding. I'd say, according to the NHC, probably not. I mean, Belize could get something, but it's not. Like, the landfall spot is closer to Cancun than anywhere in Belize.
Okay.
I
All
have
right.
a really quick question. Hold on, before we judge that, are they talking about right now? Because there is some convection.
Maybe we be talking about
One at a
the-
time. One at a time. Tristan, go ahead.
There is some convection on the outflow of tropical depression 3, but most of it seems to be more in Guatemala than Belize. But I'm wondering if they're talking about this storm or TD3.
We'll figure that out in a second. All right, let's.
Oh, well, hold on. I'll give another screenshot of the eye. It looks way more rounded now than it did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're seeing it right now. We're seeing it right now on the stream. I'm looking at the radar. I'm looking at the satellites, the 1 minute satellites right now, and I see it exactly what you're seeing. I'm actually going to go ahead and refresh the page so to get a better look at it. Oh, it definitely looks a lot more circular now. Let me see the latest. Oh, wow.
That was fast.
Yeah, take a look at this.
Wow, this might be re-intensifying.
Oh my God.
We don't
Just
know if
because
it
a
is
storm-
yet. It still has some problems. We don't know, but regardless, it might have had a little bit of a boost.
What I want to see in this, if it really starts intensifying, I want to see those more colder cloud tops start to wrap around that eye.
Yeah, I've also been looking at the models. I mean, Hageworth has been pretty consistent on it, like possibly re-intensifying towards the Yucatan. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we can't rule out that possibility considering the Tut is moving out quicker than we anticipated.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything's possible at this point, just saying.
Yeah, anything really is possible. Okay, let's see if we have questions. Right, let's go ahead and see if we have questions in the chat right now. Will we do a live like this for all other tropical storms? All other, probably not, but definitely for a fair portion of them. Right there. Good evening. What kind of effects will we see in Trinidad? You are under a tropical storm watch right now, so tropical storm conditions are possible as of now, but because the system is moving further south than we thought it would, there definitely could be a possibility where you could get into those tropical storm force winds. Hurricane force gusts are, if this thing undergoes an eye wall replacement cycle, is not out of the question, but we'll have to pay attention to it. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, anything is possible, like I said. Also, Justin Wilson in the chat says, "Is a Cat 5 possible?"
At this current point, no. At this current point, no. We're not gonna consider that at this current point in time. I said it in my video. The reason I don't think it will be is because I already saw signs of a potential ERC even a few hours ago when I posted that video. So, yeah. Yeah.
It all depends on what this merger does.
Yep.
Honestly, because the Atlantic conditions, if you look at the Atlantic just in general, you'll say, oh, this is great for a Cat 5 instantly. But because this storm does have some problems and we don't know 100% what's going on in the middle, I would give it respectfully a 50-50 shot, considering that tonight and tomorrow morning will decide if it will. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting a 5, but I'm not going to be surprised either if it does, because this storm has overperformed its strength so far in an amazing way for this time of year.
No one expected even a Cat 4 coming out of this thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm giving it 50-50 shot of becoming a 5. I'm not, like, anticipating it, but I still think there is the potential.
And considering that
free
models, considering that free models suddenly wanted it before the ERC.
Yeah, the HAFS-B shows a 165 mile/hour landfall, and the HAFS-A shows a 160 mile/hour storm.
And the H-Wharf kept showing 160 over and over again, at least in the Eastern Caribbean, before it ended up starting somewhat weakening. We are not saying a 5 is going to happen. What we are saying is, if this storm can use its eyewall replacement cycle effectively without any problems, the window's open.
Okay.
It just depends.
All right. Okay, so let's see. How close will it pass to Barbados? What will our strongest winds be like? The good news with Barbados is this system has moved further south, and it looks like you're not even going to get the outer bands of it at this current point in time because of how small it is. Now, granted, the ERC could change that. And there is a bit of thunderstorms that are firing up across the northern part of it over there. If you're watching it on the satellite right now. But overall, it's not as significant as what we were seeing 48 hours ago, in my opinion.
I would respectfully disagree with that.
I do just want to tell you a fin band did just pass Barbados.
Oh, yeah. I'm not dismissing that or anything like that. It's
just,
I'm just saying that
it's
considering how far south this has shifted, we were talking
band.
hurricane force winds like 2 days ago in Barbados.
Yeah.
That's what I'm referring to as it won't be as bad as that.
Oh, all right.
Pat,
Yeah. All right. I see what you're talking about.
What's up, Daniel?
So I just want to point out something. The second you say that, I was looking at the satellite. It is wobbling towards the north again. So
Let me take a look.
keep that in mind.
Let me take a look.
I would say this for Barbados. You will get some surge. Definitely.
Oh,
because
yeah,
we're
not
on the
just-
northern
of
side,
course.
so please stay away from the water. Of course, some tropical storm force winds, especially if it gets a little bigger. Tropical tornadoes, definitely. You're in the corridor. You're in that perfect sweet spot. So it's not saying a tornado is the biggest threat, but in terms of the position of the mesoscale of the hurricane, Barbados, in terms of potential water spouts and tornadoes coming on land, you are actually in one of the sweet spots. However, because your island is so small, and we don't know how many true rain bands will enter your area, the tornado threat is not really that big in the 25-mile-per-hour radius. But you are in the perfect position for tropical tornadoes. So I think that would be one of the lookouts for Barbados. And, of course, you get some tropical storm force winds. If you get a nice training band, just 4 inches per hour, let's say, in theory, you can easily get some flooding, too. A few mudslides if possible. So it's going to be more of that outer band of the start of the inner bands, the northern edge of the inner bands mischief, it looks like so far. But that doesn't mean it can't just wobble north and then suddenly give you hurricane force winds. Again, small systems are tough to forecast 100%, especially with the wobbles of a hurricane, even before landfall. In this situation, just a 1 mile difference can make you go into the eye wall, for example.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's an example. So please pay attention. But I do think the biggest threats are maybe a few tropical tornadoes, some surge, and tropical storm force winds.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I wasn't saying Barbados was going to get 0 impacts. I just want to make that perfectly clear. I just think that the worst impacts have moved further south. Because 48 hours ago, for those who were on stream then, we were talking about hurricane force winds in Barbados. That's clearly shifted further south. And that's what I was kind of talking about. Just to clarify that, just once again.
They can still get gusts to maybe low end hurricanes.
Oh yeah, of course.
Decide to make it bigger, maybe depending on the wobble.
I think it's definitely possible for them to get it if this thing tries to nudge north.
But that's why we say pay attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
man, you're looking at a wobbling tropical.
We got a $10 donation on the Pat's Path Predictor stream. Keep it up. Thanks for the hard work. Thank you very much for the donation. We really appreciate it. All right, but let's keep going, guys. My bad.
Real quick, I would like to send this on no mic because this is what I was talking about in terms of Barbados being on that sweet spot.
Sure.
If you look at the Hurricane Beryl total rainfall for the advisory, they say locally 8+ inches are possible for the areas of Barbados, and that is exactly where tropical rain bands, which would be capable of producing tornadoes and some training, could occur. So it looks like the Weather Prediction Center, hoping the NHC with it, is actually agreeing with my statement.
Yep,
that means
we pulled it up right now. We pulled it up right now.
Yes, so that is pretty clear. So you see how you got the bottom half where it has the orange, and you see those local little 8+ locally at Barbados.
And St.
Where
Vincent.
the tropical tornado and the training bands are in some of that mesoscale sweet spot. So the Weather Prediction Center does kind of agree, which is interesting to know. Interesting.
All right.
So, yes.
All right. Okay.
Someone said, well, so what about St. Vincent? That's the one I've been worried about.
Same here. Yeah.
Caroline, I got a quick question. I need confirmation because this data was a few years ago. What is going on with y'all volcano? I think y'all have recently had an eruption. I need to see if there's leftover ash and pyroclastic deposits. If you have any confirmation of that, because we are very worried about lahars with the heavy rainfall. I'm very concerned about that.
Yes, we talked about this quite extensively last time, and we will definitely keep it keep an eye on it for sure. St. Vincent, there is some good news and some bad news. The good news is the storm isn't going to be making landfall in St. Vincent anymore. It's too far south for that at this current point in time and its current trajectory. Not saying it can't happen if it shifts further to the north, but it's too far south as of right now. The bad news is you're in those outer bands that Tristan was talking about with the potential for tropical tornadoes. So, yeah, that's the bad news you have right there. Plus the 8+ inches of rain locally. Tropical storm force winds are at this point expected in St. Vincent. Hurricane force winds. If this thing undergoes an eyewall replacement cycle, we'll have to wait and see. And if it expands inside,
we'll have to see. So, he did confirm there is some ash on the ground. So, yes. If it's in a St. Vicious has a lot of ashes still. Get away from anywhere that get lahars then. We've seen this during Pinatubo in 1991 with another typhoon, and years after that with heavy rain. Heavy rainfall, depending on how soft that ash is, can trigger lahars, which is basically 40 to 50 mile per hour mud flows they're not just normal mud flows either. They can act as quicksand. So you got to get out of those areas. So if you are in a lahar area that could potentially get hit, I would recommend just please getting out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Better safe than sorry.
Okay, we have almost 500 people in the stream right now. So that is absolutely incredible. That's double what we had on Friday night. So be sure, all of you, to go like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It would really help us out and help us get more videos out. We've been doing an incredible job with all the forecasting, all the broadcasting that we've been doing over the last couple of days, and we would really appreciate it if you did all that for us. We are currently sitting at around 8,350 subscribers. We're trying to get up to 84, possibly 8,500 by the end of tonight, so that would be much appreciated. In the meantime, be sure to ask us questions. We have a question about Trinidad. I think we already talked about this. Trinidad definitely could get some tropical storm force winds as this thing has moved a bit further south than we were thinking about. Tobago is under a hurricane warning, and I do believe it's going to get into the core of the system. What are your guys' thoughts on Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, I think it could get some
Yeah.
winds. Yeah. But yeah, I was also thinking like Texas. Some people are talking about how Texas could get hit in the long term.
That's a bit too far out.
I know. I was gonna say it's a bit too far out, but some of the models have been trending towards that. Especially when you look at the tropical tidbits models, they've definitely been starting to trend towards that, and maybe Mexico. So I would not be surprised if this does hit Texas. And looking at the H wharf into Yucatan as a strong hurricane, I'm not. I know I'm far fetching this. A major hurricane for Texas isn't 100% out of the question. I mean, it's not the most likely at this point in time, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. So I would just keep an eye on this. If you're in Texas or Louisiana, keep an eye on this and just please stay safe. I don't want to see so much people ignoring this like some people have done and in like past hurricanes. I could be going off topic, but yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my thoughts on it making landfall over there. There's a big heat dome over there. So I know there's people that a lot of people live in Florida thinking, oh, it could hit Florida. There's a big heat dome over there, so it's not going to go to Florida. It's going to steer it away from Florida. The only state that I could really see being hit is probably anywhere from probably western Louisiana all the way down into Texas and Mexico.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well.
If one of the states were to get hit, I would probably expect it to be Texas.
Oh, yeah, that's the most likely impact right there. It's just too far out for me to really conceivably look at because we're past the 5-day mark of the cone. So we need I want to pay more attention to the other stuff that is going on right now. So
exactly. Like the Yucatan Peninsula and the actual Windward Islands that are going to be hit.
And in my opinion, and this is just my honest opinion, I feel like the NHC might be underdoing it slightly for the Yucatan. I know, like, wind shear and everything, but, like, I don't know. I feel like it could there's just part of me thinks that it could still be an extremely powerful hurricane and maybe even re-intensify. That's what some models are saying it could do.
At this point, I'm not going to rely on intensity models because of just how unpredictable this is.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a Category 1. It could be a Category 4 for all we know. It's just wild.
Okay. I'm looking at the satellite imagery right now as we look at this. I'm going to look at recon data in a couple of minutes just to see what the latest is. But I'm starting to notice the eyeballs contracting just a little bit. I don't know if you guys noticed this on my computer stream or not. I'm not sure if I'm streaming this. Yeah, I'm streaming this on Discord, I believe.
Thank you are.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
I present to you two things in VC no mic that show a very, very clear second eyeball now.
Oh yeah. I see it.
Okay.
Yep, this is definitely gonna undergo.
Pat.
What's up?
Recon is turning up to the north, and they're getting ready to go through the east side of the storm.
Can't wait to see this.
We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see if there's a double eyewall in this, because if that's the case, that's, in my opinion, that's our worst case scenario. Because
based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm even able to see it on satellite now. I do think there is a double eyewall developing there.
Yeah, I have a screenshot in VC no mic that very clearly shows one on satellite.
We're gonna go ahead and pull this up here for the stream.
Radar is confirming that too.
Yeah, you can see
that.
For those tuning in, you can see the inner eyewall right about here, surrounding the rather symmetrical eye at this current point in time. Then you see a double eyewall developing pretty much on the outside of the core of the system, which is pretty interesting. That's a large double eyewall right there. If that holds right there, I don't think it will. It's going to contract quite a bit, but it's definitely starting to form. So So Tristan, I want your take on this. You're seeing all this. Where are we looking at? Are we looking at a bad eye roll replacement cycle or a good ERC, or is it too early to tell?
All depends on what the storm does. Storms can be weird. I will say this though, because it's in such good condition to the Atlantic, I think this eye roll replacement cycle may actually help it in the long run.
Okay.
But for the Leeward Islands, this is good news. Because it's not going to strafing anymore. But it's bad news because now your storm gets larger. and now you got
Yeah.
more areas under threat.
And you have a wider area of storm surge, more areas impacted.
And one more thing to notice, just because it's starting an eyewall replacement cycle doesn't mean it can't strengthen a little more before it does the full process or the beginning of it. So it could still, in theory, go 145 and then suddenly start its process, in theory.
Yeah.
And especially with Recon, I think confirmed 140.
Yeah, they did confirm 140
So
on the northeast side.
I have a feeling
that
the 11 p.m. is going to be at 140, and that's going to be the peak, for at least for right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be 140. I mean, I do want to tell y'all that this is possibly the best type of eyewall replacement cycle it could go under this condition. It's a merger, so that means that instead of two eyewalls, an inner and an outer one, competing for each other, it's the two agreeing and just merging together, which means that one, it's going to be a quicker eyewall replacement cycle, and two, it's going to have less damage to. It's going to lead to way less weakening than a normal EWRC.
And it's going to make the
Okay.
storm stronger in the
That's
long
bad.
run. But for the Leeward Islands, this
For
is
Leeward
good
Islands,
news
it's
still.
good, but for Jamaica and the Yucatan, that's not good.
Yeah.
No, it's also quicker, which means it definitely has the possibility to finish this before hitting the islands.
Oh.
Oh no.
Which isn't good.
Yeah,
I
we're
also-
gonna have to
and I mean-
monitor this, and we'll
Very
have to pay
closely.
attention to it.
Yeah.
That
And I mean,
depends
yeah,
on the
this could
evolution
just
of the
be-
system, though. What it does.
Yeah, it depends on the evolution of the
Okay,
system. But
I have
it
a
could
quick.
also-
Here's a question right here. What's your feeling regarding forward speed, slower versus faster, considering the eyewall, especially considering eyewall uncertainty?
I don't know.
Models have been showing it going slightly slower as it gets to the islands, and I think it's going to do that. Actually, no. Let me check forward speed on NHC. What is it right now?
I think it's
18 miles an hour. It
Oh,
slowed
wow,
from
it's slowing
23,
down.
so it is slowing
wow,
down.
Awesome. It is slowing. Yeah, models definitely predicted this.
Yeah. But I also think, this could be like its first peak, but you never know. We could have like a secondary peak near like the
Models are showing some kind of secondary peak, either in the Western Caribbean or when it's going, or if it does go towards Texas, it's probably going to try there.
It might.
So
And
I'm getting
and
a
that-
lot of
that's the
confirmation.
worst case.
So it is a eyewall replacement cycle, merger or full. We don't 100% know yet, but it looks like a merger. Here's the thing: if it completes it, that National Hurricane Center track of it weakening, I don't agree on it, because now you're gonna have a double eyewall. It's gonna be much stronger. And if it could do it before the shear hits it, it could take on more shear. And it still won't be affected by dry air.
Larger
So, in
systems.
This system will be a long-lived Caribbean. If it can do it.
It's probably NHC if it does do this before it takes to the island. If it finishes this before it landfalls on the islands, one, that's really bad for all of the islands because it's probably strengthening as it goes towards the islands. And I've heard that it may try to RI right before the islands. I don't know about that.
I mean,
But I have
sure
heard that.
I mean, we can't throw
If
that
someone
out the
can
window,
confirm
but
that would
at the
be
same
nice.
time, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I'm not throwing
Again,
out.
it depends on the
I would say that's
evolution.
unlikely but possible. And then, because it's bigger, it's stronger against wind shear, which means whatever wind shear it faces while going towards Jamaica, it'll probably not be hit as bad. And then Jamaica has more of the winds because, the system is bigger. And finally, but also because of all of that, it has the possibility to have a second peak. It has a greater chance to have a second peak in either the Southwest Caribbean or if it does go to Texas, try to RI there.
And don't forget that because Mexico and Jamaica have mountains too, it also not only helps the flash flooding threat, but if this storm gets larger, you get more storm relative felicity, and that can help tropical tornadoes have more of an impact on landmass.
It would severely hurt the system if it did a core on Jamaica.
made
would.
landfall in
I meant,
Jamaica?
like, if the northern band hit
Yeah.
it, but the core
Yeah,
stayed
corn.
away.
That's what we call
Yeah.
it.
But I mean, we
Slang.
gotta remember, like Hurricane Gilbert in 1988 made landfall.
It didn't affect it.
Yeah, it didn't affect it. Like I was gonna
That
say,
storm was much bigger, though. This one's much
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah, that storm. Okay, yeah, you make a point.
By the time it were to get over to Jamaica, though, it would be a much larger storm than it is right now.
That is
Okay.
true.
That
so
is a fair
there is a
point.
chan-
All right,
Thanks. There
all
is
right.
a
What I'm
chance.
gonna do now is I'm gonna pull up the Hurricane Hunter reconnaissance right now, see what's going on with it. It looks
Oh,
like
also, one more
What's-
thing. I'm sorry. I apologize.
What's up?
Also, check on Tropical Depression Free. I want to see if it gets named before 11.
okay, it's currently en route to that. We'll have to pay attention to that. But in the meantime, I'm taking a look at this right now. Overall, what I'm seeing is, yeah, the Mission 4 is moving north. We're going into the northeast eyewall right now. It's going to be interesting. I'm taking a look at it. We'll have to see if that double eyewall feature is there and in the southwest eyewall. That's what I'm mainly focusing on right at this current point in time. The northeast eyewall.
Pressure.
Yeah, this is not.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
the drops.
Somebody was asking about the potential for rapid intensification before the islands. So what the H-Wharf right now shows, they show it right now with a pressure at 956 and winds of 130, which is pretty accurate to what we have right now.
Yeah, I
They
agree.
show it weakening down to about 120 miles per hour, but then it starts to re-intensify, and it has it having a near landfall, possibly even landfalling over some of the islands here, some of the smaller ones, at 140 miles per hour.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
But then it has it peaking at 150 miles per hour in the middle of the Caribbean.
I mean,
Hmm.
that's
We're
not
gonna have to wait and
impossible.
see when it comes to that. Okay, yeah, it looks like
Storm, Storm, again, we've said this all the time. You know what it reminds me of? Dennis. Again.
It does. Dennis, what happened with it was, so it reached its first peak intensity at 140, had an hour replacement cycle. It was a really quick one, and then it re-intensified to 150.
The
Yeah.
difference is, though, for you people in Alabama, I know Dennis rings a bell in your head. You have a heat dome. Even though it's hot, you won't get hit by a hurricane.
Yep.
The highest and strong this time.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So
look at that.
yeah. All right. So what I'm looking at right now is newest satellite imagery. Looks like the ice starting to contract in a bit more. So it's going to be an interesting next few hours. What's going to happen? We'll have to pay attention to that. In the meantime, I do want to pivot less from the Antilles, more towards Jamaica and the Yucatan before the 11 p.m. advisory, because I want to talk about the threat that's going on there, because this is approaching the Antilles. We know it's going to hit there. I want to talk more about Jamaica and the Yucatan, since that's not since that's a very likely scenario that they could hit this thing could hit both of those islands at this current point. So I want your guys' take about what we could be seeing in regards to that.
I mean, anything's possible, like I said.
All right. Anyone else?
I'm going to send a
that
couple
eye.
pictures on VC now.
Oh, that eye on satellite. Not just on satellite. The Doppler radar is showing more circular. Ooh, okay, that's
Yeah, the
Tristan's
eye's
having this
greatly contracting
moment.
right now, according to what I'm looking at.
I'm trying to get more images to see what's going on in the storm, by the way.
But yeah, I can definitely see the eye right now, like the eye, pretty much almost the whole eye on radar right now from the Barbados radar. That's pretty impressive that they're getting this, and it's very
That
impressive.
is. I
seeing
didn't
this.
even know they had a radar there. That's
I'm
impressive
surprised.
of its
Me
own.
neither, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but yeah, you can definitely see that second eye wall starting to form up right there as a bit of a merger. So we're gonna have to pay attention to that.
I see something interesting.
What's up?
Look at Mike. This is a very interesting picture of the storm itself. You see that right side and then that tornadic band, technically, north of
Oh, hey, it
Barbados.
kind of fixed its southern side up a little bit. But, Pat, I sent a couple pictures of modeled from the H-Wharf, H-Mon, HAFSB, and A models for
Yeah, I see
landfall
it.
intensities.
I see it.
So the
That's very-
H-Wharf shows a landfall at 140. The
Okay.
H-Mon shows 145.
Okay.
HAFS A shows it landfalling at 145. And the HAFS B, which is worst case scenario, don't want that, shows it landfalling as a Category 5 with 165 miles.
By the way, not going to
947
happen.
pressure?
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm not buying that right now, mainly because, I mean, if it wants to do that, it's going to have to go through its ERC in the next couple of hours, which that's
Exactly.
not likely going to happen. Okay, so...
Someone has a very interesting question. Can hurricanes have severe thunderstorms?
Yes.
Severe thunderstorms are actually the thing that technically creates hurricanes, if you think about it. Because these storms have to get really intense in order, with the low pressure, in order to get all these wind speeds and stuff. And, of course, you do have tornadoes. So, technically, if you think about it, yes, hurricanes have severe thunderstorms. They're just different in a way.
Well, if you kind of imagine a hurricane, to me, I just think of it as one great big severe thunderstorm with very strong
Well, the
winds.
difference between severe thunderstorms and this is this has no fronts. And
That's
I actually
also,
got
it also doesn't have as much lightning in it either. The
Exactly.
only lightning you find's in the eye wall.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a question about storm surge in the chat. Right now, storm surge, according to the National Hurricane Center, is 6 to 9 feet across the areas in the hurricane warning area. Near the coast, storm surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. That's the main storm surge threat we have, 6 to 9 feet right now.
However, I will like to point out is that I did a range, respectively, between 7 to 11 feet because of the eye wall replacement cycle, as bigger storms can have more storm surge. I would say anywhere from 6 to 11 feet, because the National Hurricane Center, I think, did that considering that an eye wall replacement cycle wasn't in sight at that time. So I would just say 6 to 11 feet. I know they have 6 to 9, but considering the storm can get a little bigger and that influences storms, I would say 6 to 11, depending on what happens with the system, just to be more safer with the ranges.
Yeah. All right. Okay, in the meantime, we have over 500 people in stream right now. Be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It really helps us out, helps us get more people engaged with weather, and we will continue providing these updates as they come to us, especially as this gets closer to Jamaica, and especially as this gets closer to the Lesser Antilles. Yeah. So here's what we have going on. Okay. I'm looking at that. Can hurricanes have straight line winds? I mean, technically they do. Have straight line winds. They're just, They technically do. It's just one huge area.
Spiraling winds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not straight.
Also,
it's
I joined.
spiraling
Hello.
winds, yes.
Who's in the chat right? Who's in the chat right now? Who's in Discord right now? The VC. Oh, we have.
It's Wobble Turks.
All right, perfect. All right. Cool. Okay.
All right, they're getting ready to turn into the eye wall now.
What's going? Oh, they are.
Fun.
Yep, they're getting ready to turn into the eye wall.
That's.
I just
Oh,
want
by
That's
the way,
perfect.
real
We'll
quick,
probably get that
just-
data in the next 15 minutes.
I just
want to let our 513 viewers know that we appreciate you being here, and we will try to give you the. Thank you all for being on the stream. We appreciate y'all.
I also
Have any
wanna-
questions? I'm looking at the YouTube chat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I'm
looking at the
looking
YouTube chat as well. We're just going to keep an eye on this. Right now, what we're doing is we're looking at recon. We are looking at satellites. We are indicating if there's any possible situation where this could get worse or better. Right now, the situation is mainly unchanged. At this current point, hurricane hunters, for those of you who have tuned in, have found winds of 140 miles per hour in the system. We don't know what the NHC is going to go with. What's up?
I think there's a reason why I'm going to say this. I think they'll stay 130 only because sometimes when you have an eye wall replacement cycle goes on, they may not be confident in upgrading the system because the winds might have gone a little bit. So they might stay 130 or 140. It could be either two.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
I also
Something
wanna-
I'm noting right now is there's a couple cold towers going up on the southeast side again to about negative 84 Celsius.
Also,
Oh.
I'm monitoring the streams, so yeah.
All right.
Hi, Thunder. How are you? And I appreciate helping out. Thank you. How have you been?
All right.
Also, sorry about that. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for helping us out.
We got T minus 30 minutes until the next full advisory comes out on Beryl.
Yep,
Yeah,
this is going to be
so-
a very interesting situation. We're going to see how this whole thing plays out. I'm absolutely going to keep you guys updated as we get more information. The Lesser Antilles are the first areas that are going to get hit by this. There is expected to be impacting in less than 12 hours from now. So that's why we're streaming tonight to give you impacts. The good news is this is moving at a relatively fast pace, and this is a relatively small storm. So impacts won't be as long as other typical hurricanes would have that are a little slower and a little larger. So that's the good news when it comes to this. The bad news is you're looking at a Category 4 hurricane in late June, which has never happened in history before, in human history before, I believe,
Well,
at this
in
point.
observed history.
In observed history, yes.
In recorded history.
Yeah,
Also, in VC No Mike, you can tell the difference between eye sizes. 10 minutes ago, it was, I believe, last recorded flight, I believe, said 8.5. Now, it's way larger. Look.
It is, yes.
Yeah, I've definitely
Also, I
noticed
do
that.
have an announcement to make.
All right.
What's
I
up?
might be getting baptized soon.
Gang, what?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's
Baptized.
awesome. Baptized.
Well, congratulations with that. Well, congratulations with that. We wish you the best of luck and may God be with you. But in the meantime, we are dealing with a Category 4 hurricane, and we've said a lot of prayers about everything that's going on. So
Yeah, and I also want to mention the fact that it's a Category 4 this early in the season. That, again, like we've never seen a Category 4 in June before. It's the earliest forming Cat 4 in the Atlantic, surpassing Dennis by, I think, about a week. So, if not, I think more than a week.
A little over a week and
Yeah,
one day.
a little over a week. So, considering we're seeing that early, you have a Category 4 in the Atlantic, and considering the conditions moving forward, it just makes me sick knowing how August. I just can't imagine what August, September are gonna look like.
yeah.
Oh, especially October with the Central American Gyre already being active early.
Oh yeah, October.
Yeah.
That's gonna be horrible. I already know
Also,
what's
the
gonna
cloud
happen.
tops have cooled to negative 85 Celsius now.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, so it's getting us that together.
On the southeast side, yeah.
We'll have to
So
see
it's
what
definitely
happens.
plain
I'm
to
just,
see.
I'm just gonna break in here quick. Now, I do this all the time with these storms just to see how it looks in game, but flight sim, it's actually looking fairly decent for once.
Okay, Daniel, for those who don't know what Flight Simulator is when it comes to hurricanes, how do you usually do this, and how do you usually indicate if a storm structure is good or not in that?
Well, in Flight Sim, I'm mainly looking... in Flight Sim, I should break down a few things. First of all, this is still very early technology on this forefront, so things are not perfect. For example, Pat, if you would want to open my screen share, in front of me, the portion of the eye wall is completely wide open, which is... not what it would look like in real life, but the rest of the eye structure is probably relatively accurate.
I did.
So-
Okay.
Recon also said
Wait.
the eye wall was open. Wait a minute. Is that?
Are they saying which one, 3 or 4?
3 is done, so it'd have to be 4.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. That's gonna be interesting. We'll have to watch that. But yeah, this is what we're doing. We're right here. We're looking at recon. Daniel's looking at Flight Simulator, trying to figure out what's at least we have a tentative idea of what's going on. It's not obviously perfect. It obviously still needs a lot of work with it, but it gives us a
Just
rough
pretend
idea.
there's the edge of the eye walls there.
Yeah.
We can get the basic structure. I can tell you for a fact, though, this looks a lot better than what I did earlier today.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I mainly do in Flight Simulator for people watching is I mainly look at the structure. There are mods in Flight Sim that you can look at full-on weather and with no aircraft, but of course I'm not going to go and risk my computer with viruses to do that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. But
yeah.
I would like to say real quick, if you are in the island of, I need to, yeah, I just noticed something. If you are in the island of St. Vincent and Port Elizabeth, on the Barbados radar on that small line, there has been a tropical supercell with a history of multiple hook echoes. It's been consistent. If you are sailing near there, please be careful of water spouts. You shouldn't be anyway due to the tides and surge coming in. But if there are, be very careful of tropical tornadoes and water spouts. I've been noticing that small cell has been persistent.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
And
shouldn't
that's
be
the one
sailing
with
out in this
the-
anyway. Matter of fact,
the one-
we saw this earlier this morning, but I'm gonna have to pull this up much earlier in Tropical WX chat because of how much has happened. But we saw something happening where all the ships, because the system moved that far to the south, evacuated Grenada. Like we were seeing that metric over there. I want to go ahead and pull this, try to pull this up. It's gonna be a lot earlier into there. Man, there's a lot of messages in here. Yeah, it's gonna take me a while to do. But yeah, we noticed that there was a lot of ships leaving for, I believe, Trinidad and Tobago or Venezuela. I don't think Venezuela because of the political situation going on, but I think more or less Trinidad and Tobago. Correct me if I'm wrong though, but we had a lot of ships just evacuating and fleeing Grenada because of this Category 4 system over there.
Also, I would like to know real quick. I apologize. Those few persistent supercells that are on the northwest side with the history of hook echoes, Pat. That's the other area on satellite with the highest cloud tops. Actually, right now, it's actually the cloud tops are a tiny bit higher on those supercells than the storm itself. So those two tropical supercells are actually pretty decent. So that's a decent tornado threat. I'm gonna have to really look at that monitor.
Currently looking at the
Okay, I just pulled up the
radar.
latest satellite image right here.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
that's
kind of
what I
eyeball
was just
replacement
about to
cycle it's
mention.
going through, but this is a very symmetric eye. Now, granted, it's
Yeah,
going to
I
be
was
a big
about to talk
process,
about
but
that. Yeah.
yeah.
You can see that convection popping up on the south and southeast side of it too.
Oh, that's an interesting convective burst. Hello.
Yeah, very cold one too. Its peak got the negative 85 Celsius. Right now it's negative
Whoa.
84.
I kind of just jinxed because it was the supercells that had higher convective cloud tops before that sudden burst.
Yep.
All right, they've made the turn and they're headed to the northeast eye wall.
We'll
I
know
think
what's
they're
going
gonna
on in the
wait
next
until
20
last
minutes.
minute.
That's some good news. We need that recon in there as soon as possible because we need to know if there's A, 2 eye walls in there, B, how far apart are they, C, if this is a full eye wall replacement cycle or a merger, and D, if this thing is going to end up just going bad for the system, or if it's going to end up helping it more in the long term and just weaken it maybe by a good 5-10 miles per hour at most.
And another good thing is that their current trajectory towards the eye wall, they should punch right into the middle of the eye.
That's
So
some good news.
We'll get a really good, accurate pressure measurement
set
here in the next
right
20 minutes.
before-
Yeah,
Yep.
which is a good thing. I just hope they don't hit any muzzle boards in there because those can set them off pace.
Hey, there's okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, there's someone spamming in chat right now. I'm gonna go ahead and let's see.
I'll item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Okay. In the meantime, that's mainly the big idea of what we're looking at. once again, for those of you tuning in, we're going to be watching this until the 11 p.m. advisory, so be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps us out, helps us get more people engaged with weather, and it helps me make more broadcasts like this to get it out to more of you guys. We are 20 away from 8,400 subscribers, so be sure to hit the red subscribe button and like the stream as you have been doing. It's been a very incredible night. Over 500 viewers in stream right now, more than double of what we had on Friday, which is absolutely unbelievable. So thank you very much for coming in tonight.
And don't forget, when you're hitting that subscribe button, don't forget to put all those notifications on so that you get notified when we're streaming.
Yep.
That's also pretty important. And also, something else to note, we got 20 minutes until the next advisory, the full advisory. We'll get a full forecast for the wind speeds for the next 5 days.
More likely 10 minutes. They get it out a bit early.
Yeah, they have been doing it out early. So in the next, I'll say in the next 10 plus minutes, we'll probably get that new advisory coming in.
Yeah.
And that'll be advisory 10. Hard to believe it's already been 10 advisories on this thing.
It feels just like, I mean, because it literally was yesterday that this was a hurricane.
I know.
But it feels like yesterday that we were just tagging this as an area of interest in the main development region. That's how fast this thing escalated.
Else to note, this thing has been a named storm for only a little over 2 days. It's been a hurricane for a little over 1 day, and it's been a major hurricane for a little over half a day.
Well, not that long. It's been a major hurricane since, I think it was, I believe, 8 o'clock this morning, so a little over 12 hours. So, yeah, the fact that we're seeing this sustained development and this sustained structure from this hurricane, even though it's undergoing an eyewall replacement cycle right now, is unbelievable. And, yeah.
Oh, speaking of the Devil, Advisory 10 is out.
It is? Already?
Yep. They kept it at 130, and they upped the pressure to 959.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm honest. That's a good call.
I agree with that. Because
Do we
the
have a new
140
cone?
was found.
Do we have a new cone?
A while ago. That's gonna take a little bit to load in, so we're gonna have to be a little patient with that. I would expect it to probably be loaded in about 5 minutes.
All right.
Guess what? We're also gonna have to wait on.
What up?
What?
Will Chris be born?
Oh yeah,
Waiting
Chris.
for that recon.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that happens in the Gulf of Mexico. Also, we're also paying attention to Invest 96L, which is going to be right in the area where Beryl is. 70% chance of formation in the next 7 days. One thing I want to touch on in this stream is this, and this is what I've been talking about for a while. This thing is moving at 18 miles per hour right now, or if it's moving, plus or minus a mile per hour, depending on what happens. What's going on?
It went up to 20 now.
It's at 20. Okay, that just proves my point even more. This thing is moving at 20 miles per hour over 29 plus degrees Celsius waters, and it's approaching. It's not even in the air, and not even over the best OHC as it approaches the Antilles. We're about 100 to 125 right now. I've been getting some questions that in chat and in the comments section is if the OHC in the water is going to cool off from this hurricane. The answer is most likely not, for two big reasons. One, the system is moving way too fast for it to really do much other than tap what's in the surface right there. It's moving at 20 miles per hour. This is a fast-moving tropical system. Now, if it was moving at half of that, at 10, then you could start talking about that, especially as a Category 4 hurricane. We've seen many cases where the OHC just gets sapped up after it's done. And the second thing that I'm concerned about is essentially, this is not in August. This is June 30th, which means we still have July, August, and the first half of September for all this to turn it from yellow to orange.
Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about. And whatever losses the OHC has across a lot of these regions, that's easily going to be overcome. That's easily going to be overcome in the next few days after this. That's why I'm so concerned about this. And honestly, this, in my opinion, is less of a energy sapper and more of a tone setter for what the rest of the hurricane season is going to be like. Because if we're already seeing a Cat 4 this early in the season, that
The
should raise
National
alarm
Hurricane
bells to
Center?
what could be happening in late July, in August, September. This is going to be a crazy hurricane season, and we had some people saying this could be a big bust or something like that because this wasn't a La Nina.
Hey, Pat.
What's up?
I have to cut you off here for a minute. The National Hurricane Center did announce that it is in the middle of an eye wall replacement cycle and expects no weakening to happen.
Really?
In the next
Really?
12 hours, it's still supposed to be
It's a
130.
merger.
And in the next 24 hours, it's expected to be 140 miles per hour. 140 is still in the forecast.
Oh, I got.
They expect it to make it all the way to the Yucatan, still 100 plus, and reemerge over the Gulf at 65 miles per hour and continue intensifying.
All right, I
Oh,
got
no.
discussion
So
loaded,
basically,
so
I
they're
have
now
I got
loaded
the
too.
I got the good quotes on it.
All right.
So now they're basically going with the sustain mode.
Yep.
Wow.
That is not good. And you know what? I'm gonna say this right now. I doubt the 140. I would go higher. Depending
They
on
have
the
to be
actual
conservative at
thing.
this point. They have to be conservative
Yeah.
because we don't know
Yeah,
what's
they can't-
happening.
They
We don't
can't
know
screw
what's
up.
gonna happen, but if it does everything right and that shear lets off, oh boy. I wonder what it's gonna
Wait
do.
for the eye wall replacement cycle.
What I find interesting is that let me get a history of discussions here to make sure I'm right. Hold on.
All right. In the meantime, yeah, this is. I'm going to read a little bit of this first paragraph just to get our audience to understand what we're looking at this point. There are a few pieces of evidence that show that Beryl is in the middle of an ERC. The clear eye seen in the satellite earlier has become a little more clouded over the last few hours. In addition, data from the last leg of Beryl from both recon and hurricane hunters have indicated concentric eye walls, which also matches the radar imagery from the Barbados Meteorological Service. Shout out to the radar right here. They've been doing a fantastic job in helping the NHC tonight. Okay, let me go. I just lost my place for a second. An earlier microwave pass at 2150 UTC, which is at 4:50 p.m. my time, 5:50 p.m. Eastern time, and Atlantic Standard Time, shows a formative outer moat forming outside of the small inner eye wall. In response to the evolving structure, the 700 flight level winds and the air, from the recon are a little lower than observed, and the latest round of Dvorak estimates shows a slightly lower intensity. However, initial intensity will remain at 115 knots for this advisory, given a couple of dropsons in the northeast quadrant. So this could have been a weaker system by the NHC standards if those dropsons had not came in in time. So it's a good thing we have Hurricane Hunter reconnaissance out at this current point. But regardless, this is going to be like what the NHC is advocating for is what I think Tristan and I would agree is a possible worst case scenario at this point. We do not want a merger because in the case of a full eye wall replacement cycle, there's always there's a much larger possibility with that it'll weaken the storm, but it'll expand the storm size to some extent. The case of a merger, you don't really have much weakening. And you still have the storm expanding in size.
Center shows on their intensity. They keep it 130, 130, 140, 130.
Yep.
Which is not good. That's not what we want.
That is absolutely what we do not want to see. And this is why I've been so worried about the last couple of days. This is why the Lesser Antilles people, they've been so worried about the last couple of days. This is why Jamaica, I actually had an interview with Weather Girl Danny this morning. This is why the people in Jamaica are concerned about this. This is why people in the Yucatan are concerned about this. Because what we're seeing is defying all expectations, and any sign of goodwill with this is being snuffed out right now. Now, again, things can change for the better as much as they can change for the worse. We're going to have to wait and see. And Tristan put it brilliantly on Friday night. These small systems are very volatile to forecast. So we'll have to see what happens. Now, granted, things are changing at this current point, but yeah, if you're in the Antilles right now and you're watching this, if you're in the Windward Islands, you better complete your final preparations at this point because you have less than 12 hours before landfall or close pass. Anyone else have anything to add?
I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
I don't think anyone does.
Just waiting for that new cone to come out. Those do take a little bit to
Okay,
update
Trinidad
to the
is
site.
under a tropical storm warning. I know you. Okay. Schools are closed tomorrow. We are bracing for floods, but now thinking roofs blown off, infrastructure damage. Yeah, that's definitely something concerning to take a look at this current point. All right, if you guys have any questions in the chat, feel free to ask them. We'd be more than happy to answer them at this current point in time. We have almost 600 people in chat right now, so be sure to like the stream,
Wow.
subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are only, I believe, 7 subscribers away from 8,400, so be sure to sub and do all that stuff, as well as ask some questions. Okay, I'm in Cancun. Should I be worried? Let's go ahead and talk about that briefly. Let's go ahead and talk about Cancun. The models are definitely deviating a lot more as we get closer to the Yucatan Peninsula than they are in the Antilles and Jamaica at this point. Model consensus at this current point has this below Cancun in more of a rural area in the Yucatan Peninsula. But Cancun definitely could see some impacts from this. For example, tropical storm winds are not off the table at this current point. Hurricane force winds, I'm going to pump the brakes on that. We don't have too much information on that because this is such a small system that is currently undergoing an eyewall replacement cycle. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. But overall,
They should be in the eyewall right about now, just waiting for that recon data to come in.
Recon data? All right.
Yeah, they should be in it like just about now.
Okay, brilliant. In the meantime, back to Cancun. That's what I'm looking at right now. If you are in the Yucatan Peninsula area, start preparing now. Start preparing now. This is going to be likely a Category 2 hurricane at least when it approaches your area. And there's no sugarcoating this. The Caribbean Sea is going to weaken this and tear it apart. The dry air is going to absolutely kill it. There's no sugarcoating this at this current point. And there's the ERC is going to weaken this anymore, which is our hope. But at this point, it's kind of doing a worst-case scenario. So,
all right, the new cone is here.
Brilliant.
It shows it. So based on the cone, it reaches 140 miles per hour just after the islands. Once it gets out to about...
This is interesting. There's a tropical
west.
storm watch for southern Haiti and the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. Well, if this eyewall replacement cycle makes that system larger, they could possibly see some tropical storm force winds.
That's why they're putting it out.
And some higher tides due to the system, yeah.
Yeah. This is going to be a crazy scenario we're dealing with. Yeah, that's the cone. What do the hurricane tropical storm force winds extend to? It's still 30 and 115, but that's subject to change very quickly. So,
yeah.
By the way, for the later track, I just want to mention to the people that are more ahead of the storm, like in Texas and Louisiana, where this is still there's still a very questionable area where this can go. Just because it says tropical storm doesn't mean it's over by that point. The second it enters those waters that are, again, piping hot for this time of year, and the Gulf is going to be relatively favorable, if not fully favorable by that point, this thing could explode into a Cat 2, maybe even a Cat 3.
All right.
If conditions are just right
Okay.
later on, depending where it goes.
Also, I'd like to note tropical storm force winds on the northeast side stretch out 100 nautical miles. On the southeast side, 80 nautical miles. Southwest side, 70 nautical miles. And northwest side, 80.
So it's kind of lopsided a little bit towards the northeast side. All right.
And then hurricane force winds extend out 25 nautical miles to the northeast, 20 nautical miles to the southeast, 15 nautical miles to the southwest, and 25 nautical miles to the northwest.
All
A
right.
bit more symmetrical there.
All right. I'm going to
By the
take some
way,
questions.
if-
I'm going to take some questions right now. Go ahead and finish your point, Daniel. Then we'll go to questions.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that looking at satellite over the last 3 hours, it does seem like the overall appearance of the storm is expanding outwards, which would coincide with its replacement cycle, but we'll just have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I would
noticing
like
it
to
too.
note that the shear that was impacting a little bit this morning doesn't seem to be impacting it as much anymore, because that northeast side that was kind of being eroded away this morning it doesn't have any erosion there anymore, really. It's really much fuller on that side now.
Well, that's not fantastic. Okay, which
Yeah.
countries are in the danger zone? Asks someone in the chat. Right now, the Windward Islands. We have Barbados. We have Saint Martin. Sorry, not Saint. Sorry, excuse me about that. Hurricane. Let's start with the hurricane warnings first. Barbados, Saint Lucia, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, absolutely. Martinique, Dominica is possible. The Dominican Republic could definitely see that. Haiti, Jamaica, and as of right now, the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. That's the countries that are affected. Could the hurricane hit Texas? It's possible, but it's too early to tell. What's your perspective on Grenada? How are things looking for us? You guys are going to get the core of the system. Either it's going to be a landfall or very close past to it. Yeah.
Currently it looks like the National Hurricane Center has a very, very close landfall. It's close.
Okay. What are you guys suggesting about Central America, Belize? At this current rate, expect unless something completely changes and collapses the system, a Category 2 hurricane, in my opinion. So, do I think the northern parts, yeah, they will definitely get affected by this. Yeah. So, do we know if this is going to be Tropical Storm Chris or not? Someone asks in the chat.
We still got to wait another 4 minutes.
And they are confirming tropical storm force winds. It's definitely more than 35 knots. In fact, some of them reach 45 knots. The question is, will the NHC name it? Because it's so close to land. That's the biggest question. They're going to have to do a last second.
They did expect to do that
thing if they're going to name it, because there is tropical storm force winds guaranteed on the recon.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How are things looking for Dominica? You're under a tropical storm watch. So.
Oh, wait a second.
What's up?
Tropical Storm Chris has been born. There it is.
Yes, it is.
Oh, really now?
That's
Okay.
Gonna be interesting.
Send it to PCF now.
Well, that's going to be interesting. Well, yeah, the same time, Beryl.
I guess we'll talk about Chris briefly then. Let's get to the new news. Let it low a little bit, but I guess.
Yeah. Let's
I got it. Advisory number 2, Tropical Storm Chris advisory, forecast advisory. Tropical Storm Chris forecast/advisory number 2.
40-mile-an-hour winds and 1,005 millibar pressure.
This thing's going to die in the next 12 hours based off the cone.
Yeah.
Yeah. The shortest lived thing ever.
Well, you know what? I'm glad they actually named it instead of do that. It's near landfall bias. You know what? Sometimes they do that, but I'm glad they named it. And, a lot of people are going to be saying, but it was so close to land. What was the point? And I'm like, well, it has tropical storm force winds. It has a center. It has a lot of convection. So, it does do the rules.
Everybody was waiting on that one system.
Everybody was great. Welcome to the world, Chris. And unfortunately, you'll die very young. Oh, no, Mexico.
Well, yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
You know what that means? What's our next name for Invest 96, though?
That's
Debbie.
Debbie.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question about Jamaica. We were kind of talking about this. The model tracks have have shifted south of Jamaica compared to what we were seeing previously. It looks like, to me, as of right now, hurricane force winds definitely are a possibility. I do believe a hurricane watch will be going out, I'd say, either later tonight or tomorrow. And for Jamaica, and I do think they are still on the table at this current point in time. The system's close enough for that to happen, and the eye wall replacement cycle is in effect, and it's expanding the storm size as we speak right now. It's not very noticeable right now, but as you start to add up the hours, it starts to become very noticeable. In fact, we were taking a look at this. Daniel, you were mentioning that this was expanding over the last 3 hours. Do you want to add more into that?
Well, Hold on. I'm currently
That's fine. That's fine.
doing
Don't worry
stuff
about
with
it.
another service.
That's fine. Don't worry
Give me a
about
minute
it.
on that.
Would anyone else like to chime in so that way we can kind of take a look at it further with Beryl?
Looks like they just hit the east side, about to punch into the eye. They're real close to getting in the eye wall. I'm not
Oh, they did.
seeing. Right, at least at the current data, I'm not seeing any double maximum.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it could be regulated to this western half of the system right now. That could be a possibility, but overall, like if you guys are noticing on satellite, hey, Storm Teen, you're noticing this thing is expanding in size, right? As we're
yeah,
speaking.
I'm seeing that. I am seeing that. I'm noticing that it is increasing in size a bit. Yeah. Which is to be expected, especially with the eye wall replacement cycle ongoing.
All right. Yeah. I've missed what was said about Barbados. Barbados, we were kind of talking about this previously. What we were talking about is, well, we were talking about an hour ago about it being kind of out of the core of the system, but no, it looks like the outer bands are going to be impacting Barbados quite a bit. So we're going to have to pay attention to that as the storm continues to expand in size and satellite continues to look larger and larger with this. This is no longer going to be a situation where we have a small hurricane. This could be we're going to have a larger hurricane going forward at this current point. So we'll keep you updated on that, though. Could the Gulf of Mexico
Patrick,
What's up?
Well, excuse me. I'll be right back. I'm gonna have to join a.
All right.
That's fine. We'll hold down the fort here for a little bit. Okay. What about Grenada? We already talked about Grenada. This thing looks like it's going to be the core looks like it's going to be impacting Grenada quite a lot. So, yeah. Just flood threats for Chris? Yes. That's the main threat. What category will it be if it reaches Jamaica? Category 2 or 3. Category 2 or 3 at this current point.
And something else to note.
I have heard
they're forecasting at least 15 inches of rainfall possibly in Mexico, so be aware of that.
Yeah.
Jeez. Also, someone has said that the structure is ready for more intensification immediately after the EWRC.
Oh, dang.
Oh, that's not good to hear. That's not good at all.
That's why I said that 140 peak might have been a little bit of a sugarcoat. I was thinking.
Okay, if you look at NOMIC VC, there's the rainfall that they're forecasting for. There are some areas that could locally exceed 12 plus inches.
That's for
Chris. It looks like they did pull the gun on Chris.
Mexico.
Yeah, that's for Chris.
Kind of like an Alberta situation where it forms right off the coast.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Beryl continues to be barreling towards the Antilles at this current point as a Category 4.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. Well, no, I'm not kidding you, but anyway. Okay.
Yes, I'm kidding you.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. Update for St. Lucia. Let's take a look at St. Lucia. You are under a hurricane warning. That is the island, I believe, to the north. Of St. Vincent. St. Lucia, the system has moved a lot further to the south than we were anticipating. So overall, definitely a big situation that we're dealing with, and definitely a situation that we're going to have to pay attention to for you there. As of right now, we're going to have to wait and see how that satellite acts. Other than that, you see that big burst of convection that's firing up with all those storms that Tristan and I were talking about earlier. That's going to be your first thing that you're going to be dealing with from there. And then as the core continues to approach and expand in size, we'll have to see what happens. In the meantime, I can check the radar.
I will state that the islands this thing effects are now on the Go 16 Measure 1. So we will see what happens to those now on satellite.
Yep.
Also, I will like to say real quick, I know we're mostly talking about Beryl, but there's not only Beryl who has a few tropical supercells. Apparently, Chris has some as well.
That doesn't sound
Mexico.
good.
I'm saying some supercell structures. They're not going to be as strong because,
yeah,
Beryl has more SRH, but the moisture can make up for it. So you know what? I would say a water spout or two are possible for especially with some of the infrared images of one that looks like a supercell in Mexico looks absolutely good at cloud top. So wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you look at the Atlantic satellite, if you look at like northwest of Chris, you can see like one blob that looks like a supercell on infrared that has really good cloud tops.
Yeah. That's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting.
Very
Sure
interesting.
will be.
I have a Mexico radar right now. I'm seeing this right.
All right, you keep an eye on Chris. I'm keeping an eye on Beryl because, I mean, I know Chris is going to be a huge flood threat, but Beryl, in my opinion, is going to be the greatest threat for the Antilles, and it's also the much stronger system that's approaching land at this current point. I'm checking infrared, guys. I want you guys to take a look at this. It looks like the southern side of the eye wall is starting to show quite a bit of weakness on it.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice that too.
That's going to be interesting. That's most likely part of the eye wall replacement
That southern
cycle.
side has had the weakness for a while now.
Yeah, it has, but I think that's just kind of enhancing the double eye wall feature that we're seeing at this current point, at this time at least. Still looks like it's going to be a merger, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that detrimental to it as long as the inner eye wall keeps itself together and doesn't completely tear itself apart. So let's hope that does happen, so that way it weakens it a lot more. But overall, we do not want this thing. We don't want this thing expanding in size anyway. An ERC, in my opinion, was the last thing I wanted to see. And I warned about this 2 days ago when we were streaming about it. If Yoshi, you, and Tristan remember that, we were warning about this.
Yes.
Did you know that once Debbie forms next week from Invest 96L, we will be matched. Our activity will be matched with 2005's activity for named storms.
Well, that's good to know. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'm hearing some chatter about this wobbling a bit to the north. It has a little bit, but it has a little bit, but it's hard to disseminate that between its just regular path of 275 degrees.
Oh yeah, I can see that double eye wall appearance on the radar.
Yeah, I can see it too. We can go ahead and show you that radar as well.
Yeah, I can clearly see that.
You can clearly see that right there. That's going to be a very interesting setup on what happens in the next 12 to 18 hours as it approaches land. So, yeah. Big things are coming, ladies and gentlemen. Big things are coming.
And people were saying the radar was trash.
Yeah. We got 540 guys in chat. We have 540 people, guys and girls in chat. Be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are just past 8,400 subscribers. Let's see if we can get up to 8,500. That would be very appreciative if we could be able to get there. We have 500 people in chat, so let's hope we can do it. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Ask questions if you have any in the chat. Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens.
It just passed through the eye minimum extrapolated pressure of 960 millibars, waiting for that drop zone data to come in.
Not surprising at this current point. Not surprising. It's going to probably hold around 959, 960, 961 until the ERC completes.
It does look like it has dropped again, though. It was at 962 earlier.
It was at 962, went down to 958, up to 959, up to 960. It's going to be fluctuating up and down.
No, the last eye pass on Recon showed a 962.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, then it had 960 before that, so it's kind of fluctuating plus or minus a few millibars.
Replacement cycles for you,
ladies and gentlemen. That's what they're there for. We don't exactly know what causes them. We just know they happen, and we know the conditions that come with them. I might do a thesis on that, honestly.
Our predictions would be so much better.
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest things.
So far, I'm still not seeing a double. I don't know if that secondary eye wall is strong enough for us to see it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Can this trade be more? Can this be more favorable in the Gulf of Mexico? definitely can. We're going to have to pay attention to it, though. It definitely can be stronger. It definitely can be more favorable in the Gulf. It's going to depend on the wind shear, though. That's the main thing. Does it have a possibility to hit Tampa? No. Anywhere west of Lake Charles, anywhere east of Lake Charles, it's not going to happen.
Exactly, because that heat dome, it's going to steer it away.
Yep. In August, we'll have to wait and see. We may have our first retired name of the month in June in history. That's going to depend on if this thing.
I hate to say it, that is not correct. I actually have the database of retired names. Audrey in 1957 in June was retired.
Because it made land was major.
Allison, a tropical storm that caused horrible flooding, in 2001 in Houston was retired. A Category 1 hurricane in June was retired. Hurricane Angus are causing so much flooding.
Let me go ahead and read that chat
Northeast
again.
United States. Let's see if we can find another one here. But they are rare. June retirements are rare. I only see 4.
This would be the first June Cat 4 and the only June Cat 4 to be retired.
Potentially, yes. But hold on. Let me look at the other record to see if there's another June one. And there has only been it's not the only one. We have 4 more, but it's rare. It is very rare. So yes, this is pretty historic. Yes.
Yeah. This is going to be either way, regardless if this gets retired or not, regardless of what happens, we've witnessed history today. We've witnessed history.
Thank you. Someone said thank you for the correction. No problem. We learn something new every day. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, this is the industry. This is the weather industry. We learn new things every day. All right, and could Beryl be a once in a lifetime storm in June? Arguably, it has. Arguably, it already has. Yeah, it's already a Cat 4.
That was in a crazy tornado year, and now a crazy hurricane year.
Yeah, May has been a very active tornado month for a lot of the Midwest and the Great Plains. This is going to arguably be an even crazier hurricane year at this current point.
And here's the thing: hurricane years, depending on the tracks and the structures of those landfalls, help tornado years in the United States, depending on the time of year. So. 1 or 2 tropical tornado outbreaks cannot be discounted this year, especially with the way we've been doing. So,
okay, someone wanted to ask about Chris. Well, I'm going to read the public advisory very quickly, just for everyone tuning in. Maximum sustained winds are at 40 miles per hour. It's going to be making landfall in the next few hours. It's moving west at 13 miles per hour. Pressure's 1,005. Tropical storm warning means that the tropical storm conditions will be anywhere within the warning area. In this case, in the next 6 hours. It's going to be moving inland in the next few hours. Like I said, tropical storm force winds extend out 70 miles from the center. We can go ahead and show you some convection of that right about now. Yeah. What's up? Okay. All right, we'll wait for everyone to come back in a second, but yeah, we'll take a look at satellite for Chris real quickly as we are so we'll have to pay attention to that. Overall, very good convection with this right here, and we got some stuff yeah, it's going to be a big flooding threat for a lot of Mexico and especially a lot of areas that got hit by Otis and Invest 93L. So if you are tuning in from Mexico, you have to watch this system. You also have to watch a Hurricane Beryl that is moving through the Caribbean in the next week or so. So we're going to have to pay attention to that at this current point in time. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting week, to say the very least. We've made history with the first Cat 4 in recorded history. It's been interesting. We've had 3 named systems for the month of June. Month of July is going to be interesting because we were supposed to be in a quiet period with the Sahara air layer suppressing the main development region. Well, at this current point, anything can happen. And I think Hurricane Beryl has proved that. So let's go ahead.
Someone asked, do you think it will weaken a lot before you can? It basically depends on this eyewall replacement cycle. and the evolution of the system. It will likely sustain because I don't think it's gonna, even though it will have warmer waters, the models keep inducing that there will be a decent dry air shear combo. So it might be more of a slowly weakening / sustaining, but we will not know that 100% until we get more model clearance and the evolution of the eyewall replacement cycle. So just keep an eye on it, and even if it does, in Mexico, the biggest threat with tropical systems has always been the rainfall. So it may not matter.
They needed to Grenada hold out, and then they had to take their
Okay. All right.
Does we have background noise?
Yeah, that's Storm Team. Hey, Storm Team, if you can hear us, if you have background noise, either mute yourself for the time being, or do what you need to do. Okay. All right. Okay. In the meantime, we'll keep an eye on it very closely. John, you haven't been saying very much as of late. What's your thoughts on all of this going on?
24 hours ago.
Damn Apple Watch.
It has really, really intensified.
It definitely very much has. We'll have to pay attention to that right here and right then. But we will take some more questions in the chat right now. Be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We passed 8,400 tonight. Let's see if we can get that number as high as we can get. Remember, the goal of this channel is to get more people engaged with weather, so be sure to do that, to like the stream, sub to the channel. We will be taking some questions now. If it's going to
Someone said, if it's going to miss Florida, what about Alabama? Alabama and Florida, you will likely be missed.
It will be. It's almost certainly going to be missed because of the heat dome.
The heat dome and the Bermuda High merging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Trinidad cooked? Trinidad, let me look real quick.
Trinidad is the big island.
You are under a tropical storm warning, I believe.
Yes, they are.
Some tropical storm force winds and a little bit of surge or rip currents are your biggest potential threat.
All right. Any more questions in the chat?
And then someone said, guys, big news, Chris formed. Yes, we went over it. I was actually the one who said it was born.
Yep.
What time will it make landfall in Grenada? We can't give you that 100% because it keeps speeding up, slowing down. Speeding up, slowing down. It keeps. Okay, I'm going to assume something, Pat. Let's do an estimate between 17 and 21 miles. Let's just do a range.
All right.
So that's about.
I do want to tell y'all, I'm looking at radar, and the inner eye wall is dying now.
Oh.
Oh.
That was fast.
It's not doing a merger? Is that a full one?
No,
that's good news.
No,
that's maybe. I don't know.
We don't know, but
watch that closely. That might be some good news.
If it is, the only thing, at least in my opinion, that would now lead it to a merger is the fact that it's doing this so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
maybe
doing
a little too fast.
What are the signs that the inner eye wall are dying? I'm very curious on what's going on with
the northeast part of the eye wall is starting to die.
Yeah.
Is that from the radar? Because the radar is pretty bad.
I'm looking at radar right now. Yeah, it's going toward the radar, which should make it more accurate, and the eye wall is done. Becoming less rain.
The Barbados radar tends to do that. It is an old radar. It may not be telling you to get that.
Yeah, that's a radar error.
What's going on in it?
Oh yeah, that's a.
And telling by the satellite imagery of it, let's look at the satellite imagery for better confirmation. I want to kind of see what it's looking like a little bit here.
Yeah.
To prove that.
Okay.
No, it looks like the system on the northeast side. It's still
all right.
Very. Especially with the southern side looks a little bit unhealthier, but the radar is saying that side's stronger. So the radar is kind of a little errored right now. So
all right,
I don't know.
Okay. All right. In the meantime,
we'll watch it though.
In the meantime, we're gonna take our last minute questions, and then we're gonna end the stream in a couple of minutes. So let's see. How long could the ERC last? It depends on each system. Typically, it's 18 to 24 hours. What's the wind shear like around the Jamaica area or Haiti? Like I've seen about 15 to 20 knots usually from what I've seen by the time Beryl gets over there.
Some models have said no wind shear at all. Some
Yeah.
have said 10 to 15. Some have said 15 to 20. Is it the further southeast category 4 ever? I don't
Further
know.
south?
I know it's the earliest.
Further
I think
further
Ivan was more
south.
south. I think Ivan was more
Yeah,
south.
Ivan was
Let's
further
take a
south.
look at that.
Yeah, Ivan was further south. Okay, what is the next name? I believe it's Debbie.
Yes, Debbie.
Yeah, Cat 5.
Debbie.
At this current point, it's unlikely because it's undergoing an eyeball replacement cycle. What would the
It
impact
depends
be
on
in
its
Jamaica like?
evolution, but it does have.
Hurricane conditions aren't off the table at this point. Will it be hitting the islands around high or low tide? That's a good question.
That's an amazing question. That will depend on the storm surge with the eyeball replacement.
Yeah, I don't know on that one. Also, look at VC. Look at VC No Mike. The outer eye wall is getting more pronounced again.
Okay, yeah, I'm noticing that.
Yeah, me
All right,
too.
hold on. Let's see. High tide. Let me search this up. High tide, low tide timing.
All
Or
right.
we'll just say someone like Grenada.
It could also develop on the moon phase too.
Yep.
It can also depend. So low tide is at 5:53 a.m. Y'all are
Right
at
now.
our high tide now.
We're
So
at
if
a
the storm
crescent.
can make landfall around early morning, y'all have low tide, which is actually very good news.
Yep.
It's
That's
6
good
9 feet
news.
of storm surge and an eye wall replacement. cycle.
And
So-
it is forecast to make landfall or a near pass at approximately sometime in the morning tomorrow. So
All right.
That's good news then. That's
Yep.
very good news.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we'll go ahead and end it off of that then, because I think we got everything we wanted covered, and we had a lot of fun discussion tonight. Everyone, thank you for tuning into the stream.
Hey, Pat, can I say one more
No
thing?
Sure.
problem.
No
Be
problem.
sure to check out our Storms United Discord server.
Yep, the link's pinned
yeah,
comment right
totally.
there.
Link's
Links in
in
the
the
pin-
And
chat.
for the person real quick that is saying, will it miss Mississippi? It's the same story as Florida, Alabama. The heat dome and the Bermuda High
Yep.
should protect y'all from this system.
All right.
And that system, however, you never know. That's why you pay attention.
Yep. All right.
Good.
In the meantime, well, thank you guys for coming on.
Oh yeah, Pat.
Yep.
I want to talk with you for a minute after because there's a program I want to recommend to you, and it's a specific thing.
All right.
So,
I'll have to go do something
Awesome.
first, but then I'll talk to you right after I'm done, okay?
all right, awesome.
That's fine. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and end the stream here tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Today's been a very interesting day all around. Thank you for all the support you've given to the Pat's Path Predictor channel in the last couple of days. It's been absolutely tremendous, and it's allowed me to keep going and allowed me to keep you with these updated weather forecasts. There might be another stream tomorrow or in a couple of days. We're going to have to figure that out as this thing moves through the Lesser Antilles and it starts to impact Jamaica and the Yucatan Peninsula starts to become a closer watch. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for tonight. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are
Real
new.
quick, Pat,
What's up?
one more thing before we end the stream. We're going to review the threats real quick for the islands. So, first of all, especially if you're in St. Vincent, first of all, if you are in the Lahar zone from past eruptions, please get out. Please get the higher ground in a safe interior room on higher ground if you haven't. Storm surge could be between 6 to 9 feet, depending on the eye wall replacement cycle, 6 to 11 feet. Low tide should drop it down a little bit. Heavy rainfall up to 8 to 12 inches possible. A few tropical tornadoes on the northern side, depending on the evolution, with estimated storm relative velocity at the 0 to 500 meter. That would be between 75 to 100, 150 to 200 free kilometers above, and then 300 at the 3 kilometer,
Okay.
meaning the potential for a few tropical tornadoes, depending on the rain bands.
All right.
So the biggest threats are a few tropical tornadoes, flash flooding, storm surge, lahars, depending on the St. Vincent situation. Please be safe from that and stay out of the water as the system passes by. And I hope everyone stays safe down there and do the
Yep.
right precautions to mitigate the loss of life and recover quickly with property.
All right. Thank you very much, Tristan. Thank you for everyone who came on the stream. Once again, like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps us out, helps us make more streams and videos like what you saw with our interview with Weather Girl Danny earlier and the afternoon forecast this afternoon. The mad love and support you've been giving me over the last weekend as I've been covering this has been unbelievable. So thank you once again for doing that. As always, have a wonderful evening. Stay safe.